everyone, and welcome to the River News Desk. I am Emily Fopp, and I'm sure you all were expecting Pastor Jones, but Pastor's actually entertaining our guest evangelist that is with us, Bishop Lance Johnson today, and they're out to lunch. So he left me and Lisa Piper in charge of the news desk. So greet the people, Miss Lisa.
Hello, I'm Lisa with the River News. Get excited for our riveting episode where we are going to talk about what's in Lisa's office, and it's not what you think, if you're thinking that. We're going to talk about events and announcements, a message recap, and some other tidbits of information that you may find fascinating, and you don't get this kind of news anywhere but here at the Rivers News Desk. Well, yesterday morning, Pastor taught a message on the finish line.
Yes, and if you missed that message, you need to go to our Facebook page right after this broadcast and watch that.
Yeah, don't go now.
We had a discussion about that message at lunch yesterday and said that if we had guests in the audience and they were seeking a church and seeking a place to actually find the Lord, that message was the one that was going to bring them here.
True. I always have this thing. I know I have the capability of stopping stuff right before a breakthrough. And so I have a concern about finishing strong, finishing and not limping over the line, So it was really encouraging. And then Bishop Lance came out of the gate preaching like a machine last night. And a couple of quotes I got. When revival hits, the vipers come out.
They do.
What do you think that means?
We always have to be on guard because revival is going to stir up. Not only does it stir up the Holy Spirit, but it stirs up the demons and the devil because he doesn't like the fact that we're pressing into the Lord.
Yeah. So we don't shy away from conflict, though.
Absolutely not. We don't.
And then this kind of goes with one of the quotes from last week, but he said it a little differently. And he says, we are to walk on the things that drown the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
Very, very good.
Yes.
Okay, well, Pastors Connect at 3 o'clock today. Do you know who's going to be on?
I do believe that Pastors Connect is with Bishop Lance Johnson. I'm not sure if someone else is going to be joining them today. I wasn't told that before he got out of here, so I'm saying that the bishop will be with us as long as we are in revival.
Awesome. That sounds good. And revival, tonight at 7 p.m., Bishop Lance Johnson will be back with us. We don't know if it's going to be extended past today. You'll have to come tonight or listen and find out. But as far as we know, tonight for sure at 7.
Yes, here in this sanctuary here at the river. You can also join us live on YouTube and Facebook.
And barring any kind of services on Thursday, Pastor Drew said to let the fellas know, since they haven't been able to meet on Mondays, they're going to have a men's meeting this Thursday in the fellowship hall at 6 p.m. So you guys, you manly men, don't want to miss out on that. I don't know why. No one ever laughs, but I always think that's funny to say manly men. I guess I think anybody who wants to be a manly man will come, but, one day I was back with the kids, which, I don't do the kids very well. They don't like me. I don't know why. But I was back there, I think, trying to do some choir stuff. Miss Pam does such a fantastic job. She's so consistent and faithful and anointed to do it. And the little boys, they would not pay attention. And so one of them finally, he stood back like this, and all I said was, you know what? These boys have a lot of muscles. And I bet you they could sing really good. And they reared back, They were, and I had some singing fellas that day.
They were manly men at that point, right?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with wanting to be a manly man.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know why I went there. If Pastor had been here, I don't know that would have happened. But anyway, thank you, Emily, for indulging me.
Sure.
We still have nuts in the back. I don't see a lot of nuts, but there are enough that needs to be gone. Yes. So Miss Mildred and Kawana can wrap up that fundraiser. Come to Reviver, get your Jesus on, get filled with the Spirit, and go home with your bellies full of nuts.
Yes. Because I think that's where we went at this point. Just a little nuts.
Your spirit full of Jesus and your belly full of pecans. That's what we need. I'm not doing this well today.
Yes, we're doing great today. We have several viewers, and we are thankful you're watching with us today.
Now, this is important. Tax time is here, and so if we don't have your address, send that on so we can make sure, and we are mailing, or not we, Pastor Paul is mailing out the tax receipts this week or by the end of the month.
Yes.
And let's see, what else do we have in events? Oh, do you know who I have on Freedom Friday?
Oh, I do. I remember you announcing this yesterday morning, and I am so excited. We get to hear part 2 of Buffy Murrah's testimony, right?
Yeah. Last week we did Todd Hill, which was an amazing interview.
awesome.
And then this Friday, I am going to see if I can track Bishop Lance down, because I would love to do the next Friday with him giving his testimony of freedom, because it is so good.
It is. It
So
is.
good.
It is.
Okay, well, project news. As far as I understood, they had the 3 through kindergarten open on Sunday morning.
Yes, our smaller kids were in their own classes this past Sunday, and we also had the River Cafe open. We only got to serve just a few people, so next Sunday morning, please, all you coffee drinkers, come by, see me, see Elizabeth. We will serve you guys coffee, and that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad they're social distancing, because I think coffee stinks. That's why I'm appreciative that Pastor has not put me in charge of the cafe, or all y'all would not be happy about it.
It's actually good coffee. We call it our house blend, because it's the Honduran coffee that your mom
Fancy.
and dad have brought to us for the missions for Amor. And then we blend it with some of our own coffee, and it's our own house blend, and people seem to really like it.
That's fancy.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't like it, but I appreciate the fanciness of it. Do you have like the fancy creamers? And
Actually, we do. We do have the fancy creamers now, and we are actually serving you. It's a full service cafe now, where we're actually mixing your coffee for you. So you're just handed your cup, and you can stir yourself. So
fancy.
it's a little fancier. Yes,
I like
now.
it. I mean, I don't like it, but I like it for the people that I don't like them until they've had coffee. That's what I like. Okay, and the self-service nursery 0 to 2 has been open. Did they get the TV put up in there?
I do believe TVs are now working. They're not working. Tommy is in the back saying,
Okay.
no, those are not working. I know we have a big project coming up right now, since we are in projects where we're moving. I actually get a new office, which I'm kind of
What?
excited about. I'm going to move from the platform on the side of the stage to the back. So everyone that's used to seeing me come out and waving, and I like to get up there and praise too. So I'll be in the back now. But
And then
that-
if you need to come up and down, everybody doesn't see you do
Right,
that as
right.
well.
Well, this is to make a couple of our new programs and a couple of our new things that we've got going on with our online services to make it a little bit better and a little higher quality. So me and I'm actually going to have a team of people working with me on all of our services, and we'll be over in the other office now.
That's awesome. Well, if you don't know what is in our, sometimes people will go, what is up those stairs? There's a studio up
Yes.
where you're working right now, and then Pastor Paul's office is open on the other one, and then that's going to be a media center. So
Yes.
pretty cool. So you're in the know because you're watching the news.
That's right.
Let me talk to you about a miracle. There's a miracle man walking around. I'm not going to give his name because I didn't ask permission, but I do like to give testimonies. And he's a friend of mine, and he's just been struggling to not walk in complaint and pride, just that kind of thing. And I
Almost a
just,
fullness. He's not walking in the fullness
yeah.
of the Lord. Yeah.
And he said the Lord told him, you've been saved, but you haven't been born again. And walking instead of not making the Lord your Lord. And he said, I've always done what I wanted to do, not in consideration. So God, during the revival, I asked him, I said, what's God done in the last 3 weeks? And he said, now this wouldn't be important to anybody except for if you lack this, it would be important. He said, God's brought me into a place of peace.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yes,
And peace should be there when God's doing something. And he said that he asked his wife, have you noticed I'm not complaining or saying anything bad? And she's like, I have noticed. It is good when our family notices. And then he smiled and he said, and I don't have a desire to be confrontational. Don't you know it is a miracle when God reaches down into not sometimes our personality, sometimes our behaviors. And people that are saying, I had been angry and now I'm able to hear something and not get offended. That it truly is a work of the Lord.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I'm excited there was a teenager being baptized last night, and I'm watching hunger fall on him.
I watched that same thing. I believe that young man has been baptized. I think that may have been his third time since revival has began. And he is so hungry to see what God has for him, which is awesome.
And some people maybe, you don't have to do it that many times. Well, name and dip 7 times. I say dip it until you get where you want.
That's right.
I'm not going to be critical of anybody doing anything God has called them to do. And I've been hungry enough before. I'm like, I don't really care who I have to stand in front of. I don't care what I have to do. And the Lord always fulfills that hunger. So I love that. Now, we picked out an item from my office. I did have to get it out of box because they're going to give you a little bit of a zoom in on this item. It is not liquor, y'all.
No.
And I had it on my desk, and when people would come in, they couldn't talk to me. They would just stare at this bottle. And I didn't bring my glasses to read that, but I'll have Emily read that in a minute. I'll just put the tag in the front. Let me tell you what this is. I have done a couple of history books with the Historical Society, but I love a part of Hopkins County history so much. And let's see, I wrote down the date here because I didn't think I would remember the date. But in 1881, they were digging for water, and now from my memory, it seems like when I was researching those books, there was like Chinamen and people that were digging the railroad, and they happened upon, I don't know if it was Hamby or who, but this water came up and they were really excited. And when they drank it, they basically thought it was like a drink of death. Have you ever tasted like real mineral water?
Yes, it says in here that it had a magnesium content, so that mineral water
was funky.
And I almost venture to say that it did some work on their internal systems, if you know what I mean, because magnesium will make you go.
And bathrooms weren't readily available
They were not.
back there. But what happened is the poor that were working in that area, they started getting healed of stuff.
Wow.
So they started calling it the healing wells, and within a very short amount of time, well, actually Dawson Springs was just called Dawson.
Yes.
And because of the power of the springs, and people started coming in by tens of thousands all over the place, coming in on the trains. Actually, the doctors would come with gurneys, and as they were getting off the train, they had water ready to sip. And I'm thinking they also served highballs, which were they evaporated the water down, and you could take a big chug of this. Medicinally, people got healed of all kinds of things, and different wells had different mineral content. So like if a doctor was going to prescribe, they may prescribe the Arcadian well or maybe the Hamby well or whatever. So tens of thousands of people came in. Hotels start springing up, lodging starts springing up. This is in our county. Fresh water, healing water will draw in people.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Yes.
And so what happened, though, later on, they came up with pharmacy and vitamins and all that kind of thing. It kind of fizzled out there. But a while back, they rebottled the water. And I was going to look up the name of the man who gave me this bottle of this is actual Dawson Spring water. He told me, he said, first of all, I don't know when they did it was old. He's like, but don't drink it. It's nasty. But what does that say?
This just gives the history of Dawson Springs Mineral Water Incorporated is proud to offer genuine cash well mineral water for your drinking pleasure. We believe it to be the finest bottled water available. Note and compare the calcium and magnesium content with other mineral waters. Famous since the 1890s for the quality of its mineral water, Dawson Springs was once considered the greatest health resort in the South.
True.
Its many hotels, health spas, and attracted thousands of elites to take the water. Today, it rejoices in the revival of Dawson Springs. So apparently, this water that they found was a revival in Dawson Springs. And it reminds me a lot of the word that Pastor Clint gave last night about the pool. And when you come in, you'll see our pool over on the far end of the sanctuary, and the light that reflects up from the pool onto the cross. And he says
cool.
that we should always reflect the cross. And that when you were talking about that reminded me of that word that he got last night. So that's pretty cool.
And so our focus is just, we have found a well of water
Yes.
that you drink from, and you will not need another well. And so as God is doing the miracles and doing things here, we believe that anyone who wants to take a sip, take a taste, will certainly find peace and find healing and whatever it is that God wants to do. So that's why I have this in my office, not on display necessarily because it weirds people out because they think I have liquor in my office, but I love the history of it. And just for, if I'm driving through Dawson and somebody's with me, I usually will give a history thing. But if you go down the street where the nursing home is at, you can, they've got a representation of a well right there. That's where Hamby's Hotel was. And there's a book called, I don't know what it's an Arcadia book. It's the postcards of Hopkins County. That book there that I did with the Historical Society, it has more of the details of Dawson Springs, and it's cool to look at. They did have a hotel right there where the nursing home is at that was sort of in the day would have been like an Opryland hotel. I mean, it had bowling alley in it. It had ballrooms. It had bathrooms, which at the time was a huge deal. It was magnificent. And looking at those pictures, you're like, wow, that was in Dawson Springs. The Arcadia Hotel, the Hamby House, I think is what it's called. There's so much rich history there, and it all came from finding water that is healing. And that's what we have found in Nortonville and Hopkins County.
That's awesome. And since we're talking about water, if you would like to be baptized, you can actually text the number that's on your screen. That'll come to me, and I can set you up with my husband, Drew, and we will make sure that your name gets on the list for baptism. And we'll be doing that as long as we're having a revival. So.
Yeah, and one last comment for those that have just gotten saved, or if you would like to just go deeper, we're going to be offering a Set Yourself free class.
Good.
And that announcement should come up Sunday. I'll be teaching that, and it is amazing. Every believer needs to go through it so that you learn the concept of forgiving and repenting, letting things go and getting cleaned up, because, you know, this world leaves a mess on you, and Jesus just cleans us up, but we need to know how to partner with that. So that's coming up pretty soon. I'm excited about that.
Yes, that is an awesome ministry, and I'm so thankful for that we have here at the
Me
river.
too. Yeah, we have Freedom Ministry all day long.
Yes,
I love it.
We do.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
I don't think so. Just remember tonight, our services will begin at 7. Is
Sure.
that correct? If you would like to come in and pray, the sanctuary will be open. So if you'd like to come in at 6:30 or before that, you can come in and pray and join us for revival service at 7, and we'll be live on Facebook and YouTube.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.